Hey everyone, welcome back. Here we are for another episode where I talk about or go through the transcript that I have created. This transcript has actually been up on the Patreon site for like almost a month now. I just put it up at the beginning of the month, first week or so. But now, I have some time, so I'm going to go through it. I'm going to read through the whole thing once, and then I'm going to go line by line and talk about some of the main points. So the first one that I did was about a video that was like 2.5 minutes long. But really on this channel, on the Our Family Life channel, the videos are usually 5 minutes or more. So it's going to, so the video is twice as long. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to do the first half, and then later I'll have the second half of the whole transcript. So I'm going to do it in two parts because I want to make it also like not as long, because the last one, it was a 2.5 minute video, but the whole thing was a whole hour-long kind of explanation. Let's just jump right into it. I'm going to, go through it through the whole thing once, like just reading it. Again, not like super fast, just trying to enunciate things as well as possible, and then we will do the whole thing line by line. So the episode is called Min صحابك. Sahab is the plural of sahib, which means one friend. So sahab is friends. Sahabik is friend, or your friends. So it's who are your friends? All right, let's get right into it. And this time I've added actually who is speaking. Yeah, maybe you should, I'm going to put the link to the video in the description, so you should probably watch it before you do this, even if you don't get that much out of it, just because like, these are the names of the characters who have, Sanad is the mother, Sally is the daughter, Sanad is the son, etc. So, it's nice to have an idea of who is speaking and what's going on in the video, because like I'll probably just explain what's happening in the video too, just so you know, and you have a little bit of context, because like they'll be saying something about what is visually happening, so it's nice to maybe watch it before you watch this. But all right, let's just get started. Okay. أهلين بالحلوين، شو كيف أول يوم مدرسة؟ زي ما توقعت، خربشوا كل أصفوف ورنا طلعت مش بصفي، وإحنا كمان خلطونا، بس المهم إنه نديم طلع معي بالصف. صحابي معي وانت لا. ماما شوفي سند. حبيبتي أنا بعرف إنه مزعج إنه فصلوا أصحاب عن بعض، بس ممكن هاي فرصة تتعرفي على أصحاب جداد. أوبس. إحنا ما عطونا واجبات، أنا داخل ألعب. ومش بس هيك، قسمونا مجموعات عشوائية، ولازم نبدأ نشتغل على المشروع الإنجليزي. طيب شو رأيك بهاي الفكرة؟ تعزمي المجموعة عندك، منها بتشتغلوا على المشروع ومنها بتتعرفي عليهم. وأنا بعملكم أشياء زاكية. Okay, ماما ماشي. And so now, okay, so that was the first scene. Now they're like, the girls are in the room working on the project. So أنا بقول لبكرة خلينا نقدم هدول الثلاث شخصيات ونستنى نشوف شو بتحكي المس. اوكي يلا نظبطها لأنه بعد شوي بوصلوا أهلي. لبنى يلا تعالي شو بتعملي؟ بتصور بدي أنزل بوست group work. So she says that I put it in red because she says this in English, basic English. Alright. بس ما عم تطلع معي الصورة زي ما بدي. تفضلوا يا صبايا. شكرا أنتي غلبتي حالك. شكرا ماما. Okay, so now that's I put this divider for like separate scenes. So now the son is like playing video games. دير بالك فراس، هاي في واحد طالع من ورق الشجرة. سند مين هذا فراس؟ مش حكينا إنه ما نضيف حدا ما بنعرفه. ماما هاد ولد جديد بصفي. طيب يلا خلص وقتك الجيمز. She says games. انهي معه وروح اقرأ لك كتاب. ماما بس 5 دقايق. اوكي ماشي. يلا فراس انا لازم اروح. خلص وقتي sorry. خلص وقتك. انت بترد على اهلك يا زلمة. انا بلعب قد ما بدي. انسى شوف هالحركة. Okay, now the girls working on the project, they're leaving. Bye auntie. يلا باي. سالي ما تنسي تحطي اسمي على المشروع. ماما لبنى ما قبلت. That's after she left. ماما لبنى ما قبلت تشتغل معنا ولا إشي، ضلت تصور حالها زي كأنها بتشتغل معنا. لاحظت عليها لما فتت عندكم. بس هي ماما كتير منيحة وعندها كتير أصحاب وبتعرف أخبار الكل. بتصدقي إنها بتقولي إنه رنا قالت لها إني أنا بغار منها لأنه صوتها حلو، وهي زعلانة من رنا كيف هيك بتقول عني. معقول رنا صديقتك الطفولة؟ ما أظن رنا بتحكي هيك إشي. أصلا أنا هاي لبنى ما عجبتني أبدا، تصرفاتها بالمرة ما عجبتني. شكله خلص بعد ما غيروا الصفوف تغير كل إشي. And then the mother is sort of speaking to the son in the other room. سند شو هكينا. Okay, so that's the first half of the video. And what I want to do, I just kind of just went through it kind of without commenting, because now we're going to go back and do everything like line by line. Again, I'm going to go into detail, but I don't want to maybe beat a dead horse. Like I think last time maybe I did it a little too much, but I'm saying this now just so you can leave a comment and say like, okay, maybe do more of this, maybe do more of this, or like this wasn't clear, or last time you gave some pretty good feedback, so I'm going to take that into account. So now let's go like deeper into it. Okay. أهلين بالحلوين. Hello, حلوين is like from hello meaning sweet, so like sweeties, I guess. She's talking to her kids who just came back from school, from the first day of school. So شو like means what, but it's like, okay, so, so كيف أول يوم مدرسة. أول meaning first. It's pretty self-explanatory. How's the first day of school? زي ما توقعت. Okay, so توقع means to expect. So the way it means as I expected is because زي means like or as. But in order to say like as I expected or as something, like if you want to combine words like زي or بعد meaning after, or قبل before, like anything like that with a verb, you have to have this word ما in the middle. So ما here is not negation. Normally that would be negation, like for example, ما توقعت means I did not expect, but زي ما توقعت. So here you should think of the ما as going with زي, not as negating توقعت. So زي ما is as, but okay, زي by itself means as, but زي ما is as, but you're implying that you're going to follow this with a verb, and that is what that is what you're comparing with using the word زي, if that makes sense. So زي ما توقعت is as I expected, whereas just ما توقعت would just mean I did not expect. So there's a very particular use of ما. I talked about it in the previous video. I brought it up in many cases, like in my videos, because it is a little bit hard to explain. So I just want to keep making like a note of it, like every time that it does come up, because I think the best way to understand how to use it is through exposure and just seeing it and getting the hang of it. I think in the last video, the time that we saw it was with the words like before and after. So بعد ما تطلع من البيت. So تطلع من البيت means to go out of the house, or like to leave the house. But then بعد ما is like after. بعد means after, but بعد ما means after you do something. So this kind of ما, when it goes with a word like زي or بعد or قبل meaning before, what else? Ad meaning as much, so as much as. Whenever you have these words with ma after, you're going to be following it with a verb. The ma just has to be in the middle to join these words with verbs. Okay, so that was a long explanation, but I think that is an important thing to be aware of. Okay, خربشوا is a very weird word because it has 4 letters in the root. It just means to scribble actually, but also to mess up, or I translate it as shuffled because I think that's but it has just means to mess up or to scramble up. Okay, خربشوا كل الصفوف, the classes. ورنا, her friend, طلعت مش بصفي. Okay, this I also want to make a note of طلعت here because طلعت, normally it means, actually it's a great verb, and I'm going to make a video about these motion verbs. So طلع means to go up, but in colloquial Arabic, it's just used in general to just go. So طلعت على الدكان, like I went to the store, not like I went up to the store necessarily. So yeah, but there's another use which is turned out to be. So like هو, oh my gosh, هو طلعت إسرائيلي. Like he turned out to be Israeli. I don't know why this is the first thing that came to my mind, but like yeah, so something turned out to be a certain way. I guess it implies maybe a little bit of a surprise because you didn't expect it and then it turned out to be that way. So in this case, the turned out translation is not as good here as, like, I mean, what I chose to write is ended up, because it kind of, I mean, it's kind of the same idea. So she ended up, like, she turned out to be not in my class, right? So I just wrote ended up. So that's what that means. Very useful verb. I recommend learning this one. Okay, مش بصفي, not in my class. Now Sanad, the son says, وإحنا كمان خلطونا. They mixed us. Actually, خلط actually means to mix. So if you're talking about like food, like making a salad, like خلط, you know, the ingredients, like mix the ingredients. So they mixed us up too. Yeah. بس المهم إنه نديم طلع معي بالصف. So again, طلع, like in this case, بس المهم, مهم means important. المهم is the important thing, right? So so I translate it as, but what matters is that rah rah rah. Actually, المهم is also a really fun, or like just a very common expression to just say anyway. So like anyway, you know, blah blah blah. And it literally translates as, what's important is that da da da. But yeah, people say that all the time in speech. I say it a lot, like المهم da da da. So بس المهم إنه نديم طلع معي بالصف. What matters, or the important thing, is that my friend turned out to be with me in my class. And then he just makes fun of his sister and just says صحابي معي وأنتِ لا. Like صحابي معي, my friends are with me, and you know. I mean, it translates kind of weirdly because obviously he's not saying my friends are with me and you're not with me. It's my friends are with me and you know your friends are not with you, right? So that's what's going on here. Okay, and then she just complains. Mama شوفي سند. Just look at سند. Okay, حبيبتي أنا بعرف إنه مزعج. I just talked about this in my video about form 4, مزعج, which comes from the verb أزعج, meaning to bother or to annoy. So مزعج is annoying. So I know it's annoying. إنه here is a way of saying that, right? So أنا بعرف إنه, I know that مزعج, it's annoying. إنه, that فصلوا أصحاب عن بعض. That, so I know that it's annoying that they separated friends, or the friends. عن بعض means from each other. بعض is a word that means like each other, just by itself. So مع بعض means together. That's actually how you say together. مع بعض, with each other. عن بعض, عن means from, in this case. So here it's they separated friends from each other. ضد بعض is against each other. زي بعض, like, you know, the father and the son, or زي بعض, they're like each other, using the word زي, which means as or like. So yeah, oops, okay, بس ممكن, so but maybe, or it could be, هي فرصة تتعرفي على أصحاب جداد. So فرصة is opportunity, so maybe this is an opportunity. Now notice that تتعرفي is in the subjunctive, so it's not تتعرفي. I mean, it could be, but in this case, the reason it's not is because you're actually describing, in a way, you're describing the opportunity. So this is an opportunity for you to meet new friends. So it's not, if it were تتعرفي with a B, then you're saying you meet new friends, or you will meet new friends, or you are meeting new friends. But it's like a hypothetical, right? It's an opportunity for you to do that. So it's what's called a realis mood, I think. That's grammar. So it's an opportunity for you to meet new friends. And then Sanad just sort of dismisses himself. He just says, إحنا معطونا واجبات أنا داخل ألعب. Now, there is actually something interesting happening here, which is that أعطونا means they gave us, right? أعطوا, they gave. أعطونا, they gave us. But notice that the sentence starts off with إحنا, which means we. So literally this would be, they did not give us homework. That's why I translated this in the passive voice to write, we were not given. That's actually the passive voice. But in Arabic, it seems like it's the active voice. But if you go back to my video about the passive participle, I mentioned the fact that there's no passive participle in Palestinian, there's no passive voice in Palestinian Arabic. That's when you say like, we were seen, or we were given, or we were, as opposed to we gave, or we saw, or we did. So there's really no way to express that in a just perfectly natural way in Palestinian Arabic, because the way that it's done is by just flipping the order, or like flipping the tone of the sentence and making it an active voice sentence. So literally, if you gave me the sentence, Adrian, translate, we weren't given homework. I would do this. I would actually switch it to, they did not give us homework, not we were not given homework. So always make it just a regular active voice sentence. Like, there's no need to overcomplicate it. But if you do want to emphasize like the recipient of the action, so we were not giving homework, like if you want to emphasize the recipient of the action as the main topic of the sentence, what you do is you can still start the sentence with the pronoun that is for the object, but you use it as the subject. So I'm sorry if that sounds kind of confusing, but I think you can just, you can literally just see it here, right? Because, so إحنا is us, but in this case, أعطونا, like we are actually the object of the sentence, but still there's the whole full pronoun at the beginning of the sentence as if it were the subject of the sentence, but actually, it's not, because the subject of the sentence is هم أعطونا. But here he said إحنا أعطونا, because we were given. That's what that use is implying. So it's not technically in the passive voice, but this emphasizes like even though they are the هم, they are the actors, like it's emphasizing that we who receive the action are the main topic of the sentence, even though we did not carry out the action of the sentence. Okay, just made a big point about that because it's kind of an interesting feature, and I think it's not worth getting hung up about like, oh, how do you say we were not given, or the door was opened, as opposed to just they opened the door. You always try to flip it into an active voice. Okay. أنا داخل, I'm going in. ألعب, I'm going in to play. ألعب being in the subjunctive, because he's going in to do something. Okay. Now she keeps complaining. Okay. ومش بس هيك. قسمونا, they okay, so مش بس هيك, so I translated, that's not all. Okay, mish is it's not. Bus, so bus means but it can also mean only, or like just something, like I only ate apples, something like that. So mish bus hik, hik means like that, or yeah, like that is a good translation for it. So it's not just like that, or in this case I translate it as, and that's not all, right? Because that's what the bus is indicating, that it's not just that, there's more. So they split us up. مجموعات عشوائية. عشوائية means random, so random groups. ولازم نبدأ نشتغل على المشروع الإنجليزي. It's kind of self-explanatory. لازم, we should or we must. نبدأ, begin. نشتغل, working. على المشروع الإنجليزي. Okay, so here you might notice that, so the word here is مشروع, which means project, and then you have المشروع, but then you have this عين. I've said this before, but I'm just going to quickly repeat that the ayn, like it's short for ala, but when it goes before something that starts with al like this, like it's often written like connected to the thing, to the article al, so al mashrua. Again, this is a colloquial thing. That's not actually fusha or anything like that. So don't, but you can write that because that's fine. That's what people actually write. So yeah, that's because in speech, like people don't really say ala, they just say al mashrua al Inglisi. Okay, the English project. And then Imsanad says, طب, so طيب is like okay or alright, but people can also say just طب. So طيب or طب. شو رأيك بهاي الفكرة? شو رأيك means literally what is your opinion. رأي is an opinion, or رأي is like my opinion actually, because the e suffix kind of gets fused into the final ya of the word. So رأي is my opinion, رأيك is your opinion. B, هاي الفكرة. So هاي, this idea. Yeah, I never know how much I should repeat or yeah, because like really a lot of what I'm saying is already in a lot of my videos, so maybe I'll just say where you can find further information rather than just going over the whole thing again. I think that's why these videos get a little bit long. So yeah, I have a video where I talk about the article and the like these this, that, these, and those words, so you can check that out if you want more information about this. Hey, okay, تعزمي, which means to invite, or you invite. المجموع عندك. Okay, two things really quick. Okay, so تعزمي, the reason it's not بتعزمي, like the reason it's in the subjunctive here is because it is like this verb is like describing the idea, right? So the idea is that you invite them. So she's not actually saying you invite, or you are inviting, or you will invite. It's this hypothetical act of inviting. So what do you think of the idea that you invite? So تعزمي المجموع عندك. Okay, I had a question on the Patreon, which was a fantastic question. Love the question. It was about the word عندك, because look at this. Doesn't عندي mean I have, and doesn't عندك mean you have? Yes and no. That is usually how that's translated, because it's really how it's mostly used, I guess, like عندي تليفون. But if you literally like break down exactly what it means, عند means at. So that's why in some super literal translations, like عندي تليفون means at me a phone, right? That's literally how all of that would break down. It's similar to how you say معي سيارة. So مع means with, and in addition to عندي, words like معي can also be used to say to express possession. So even though معي سيارة means with me a car, it means I have a car. It's like saying like I have money, or yeah, you still say have, but I mean I have money with me. I guess like it's kind of similar, but in Arabic there is no actual have. You just say with me money, and it means I have money, or with me a car means I have a car. Likewise, at me a phone means I have a phone. But okay, so now taking that a step further, if عند means at, well, that's why عندي or عندك just by themselves can also mean like my place or your place. So if I say like في أكل عندي, okay, so عندي أكل means I have food, right? But if I say في, which means like the في with the H at the end, like the one that means like there is, right? I talked about that in another video. So في can be used to say there is. So في أكل means there is food. But if I say في أكل عندي, it means there is food at my place. Do you see what I mean? So there's a difference between عندي something, which tells you that, you know, whatever follows عندي is like something. It really works like a like it looks like a verb, because if I say أكلت أكل means I ate food. So if I say عندي أكل, it really, like, just because of the order of the words, like, it gives you the impression that عندي is a verb and the object of the verb is أكل, even though technically that's not, like, grammatically that's not what's happening, but it feels that way. It feels like it's a verb. Whereas if you just say في أكل means there is food, and then عندي is just like a location word, right? It just means there is food at my place. So in this case, what she's saying is تعزمي المجموع عندك. Invite the group to your place, or yeah, invite them to your place. This is a very, very useful word, and it does come up, and it can be confusing if you don't know that it has this other meaning. So yeah, I mean, if you know this kind of, but in French there's something very similar, which is the word chez. So, you know, if you say, like, it's very common in like restaurant names, like chez Pierre means Pierre's place. Likewise, like, you know, in English you would just say Pierre's, for example, or John's, like John's place, John's restaurant, John's, right? So in Arabic, you can actually say and Muhammad. So عند Muhammad means like at Muhammad's place, right? So في أكل عند Muhammad means there is food at Muhammad's place. So very useful word. Okay, next. منها بتشتغلوا على المشروع ومنها بتتعرفي عليهم. Yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. The minha just means like, you know, from it you do a little bit of this and then you do a little bit of that. So minha literally means from it. So, you know, invite your friends and then that way you can work a little bit on the project and get to know them. Okay. وأنا بعملكم أشياء زاكية. Pretty self-explanatory. I will make for you delicious things. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, mama, mashi. Mashi, active participle of masha, to walk, and it just means like, okay, or, you know, yeah, that works, yeah. So, okay, next scene. Okay, now the girls are just working on their project. أنا بقول لبكرة, I say for tomorrow, لبكرة, right, the li is for. أنا بقول لبكرة خلينا نقدم. So خلينا, خلا means to allow or to let. So خلينا then is quite literally let us, right? Let, خلا. Okay, so خلا is the past, and then خلي, or rather خلي, is the imperative. So I'm giving you an order. I'm saying let, and then it's let us. So it's literally let's do something. So I guess it's a quite useful expression. خلينا نقدم, let's present. قدم is to present. خلينا نقدم هدول الثلاث شخصيات. Okay, I guess they're talking, yeah, that's an English project, so nothing too important here. هدول, these, ثلاث, three, شخصيات, characters. Okay. Yeah. Okay, ونستنى, and yeah, so, and we wait. ونستنى نشوف شو بتحكي المس. Yeah, again, notice, please take note of when things are, I don't think I'm going to say it every single time anymore because it's just going to get old, but just yourself pay attention to when it's in the subjunctive and when it's in the normal present tense. So here, شو بتحكي المس versus نستنى نشوف without the B. This is a common mistake, especially among people who are coming from Fusha, when there's never a B. Because in Ammiya, sometimes you have the B, sometimes you don't. It's flexible, but there are some differences. Like there are different connotations. So pay attention. I'm not going to give you the reason for each time because it'll get a little bit old. Like in this case, خلينا نقدم. The reason it's in the subjunctive. It's pretty clearly because you know, you're not actually presenting. You're saying let us present. So you're modifying the verb with something before, which is let us. Likewise, if you say, we must present, or we want to present, or we should, or whatever. So again, I've talked about that a lot before, so just keep an eye out for that yourself. And if there's something serious, I'll point it out. Okay. And then here, friend. I don't know what the friend's name is, but okay. Yalla. Oh yeah. By the way, al-miss here, that just means like the teacher, right? Okay. Okay. Yalla nzabbitha. Okay. This yalla, you've probably heard this word a million times before. Yalla means like, come on, let's go. It's another way of, just the same way that I said khalina means like let's do something. It's actually a very literal let us do something. I'm not saying that sounds formal. I'm just saying that it is very much directly like analogous to let us in English. But another way to say it is yalla do something. Yalla, since it means like let's go, let's do it, come on. It's like, all right, let's, yeah. It's not analogous exactly to English, but I think it's even more common probably. Yeah. Okay. Yalla. Let's. Zabbat means to fix. So yalla nzabbitha. لأنه, because بعد شوي, in بعد شوي means like after a little, which meaning like soon, right? بوصلوا أهلي. Okay, my parents. I translate it as my family, but it means like my parents are arriving, basically. Well, it could go either way, I guess sometimes. Okay, Lubna. Now she calls out to the Lubna girl. Okay, Lubna, يلا تعالي. شو بتعملي? Yeah, yalla, you see it here, like yalla, like come on, let's go. What are you doing? Okay, ta'al, I don't know if you know or not, but ta'al is the imperative, the command of ija. It is the only case that I know of such a thing where it's like the verb is ija, he came, or to come, but the imperative is a completely different word. I have no idea where it comes from, no idea. But there's no, whatever the imperative would technically be for ija, it is not used. Ta'al is used, and that means come. Extremely common word, not just in Palestinian Arabic, other dialects too. Ta'al means come. So huwa ija, he came. Ta'al, come. Okay, so, but here it's in the feminine, of course, ta'ali. Okay, so she answers, بتصور بدي أنازل. Okay, post group work. Okay, so that part's in English. She's talking about putting up a picture online. Nazal means, well, it literally means to lower something. So, you know, if there's something up here, you know, nazaltu, I lowered it. It's form 2 of the verb, like the form 1 sort of original, well, whatever. The form 1 verb would be nizil. So it went down. And then nazal is to bring something down, so to lower something. Actually, nazal is in a way the opposite of tala'. So tala' means to go up, and then nazal means to go down. And in the same way that tala', it means like also just to go out, right? So I went out from the house, طلعت من البيت. You can also say نزلت, or yeah, or نزلت, like al-su, like to the market. I went down to the market. Yeah, I mean, in English, you also say like, oh, I went down to, you know, fulanito. Okay, I went down to someone's house, like something. So it's like that. But in this case, nazal. So in technology, in the world of technology, in Arabic, nazal, which means to bring down or to pull down, like it's being used to say to download. But then in I don't know if in English you know, but there's a difference between download and upload, because download is when there's something online and you bring it and you pull it onto your computer, and an upload is when there's something on your computer and you put it online. In Arabic, there's not really very much of a clear distinction. I try to make it explicit. I tried to use nazal to mean to download, and hammal, which means to load, like to load cargo, or like to put something, like, you know, on the back of a truck, like hammalet al-truck. I use that one because it means like to make something carry something. I use that one to mean to upload, and nazal to mean to download, but not everyone really does that. So in this case, she's saying, I want to download, but she means I want to like put up a post group work. Yeah. So I, you know, you can really do either. And then, yeah, this first word, so surah means photograph. Sawwar means to photograph something. Tsawwar, with a T in the beginning, it's form 5, which means when you do something to yourself. So sawwar means to take a picture of something. And I translate it as I'm taking selfies, because sawwar, like, you know, it literally means to photograph myself. So I'm taking selfies. That's what that means. So yeah. Okay, next. Bus. So everyone is complaining in this video. Okay. Bus ما عم تطلع معي الصورة زي ما بدي. Okay, so the main, I'm going to focus on two quick things. So in this case, again, as I've mentioned before a little bit here and there, it's a way to emphasize like continuous action. So ana bokal means I eat, or I am eating. Like sometimes in Arabic, the present tense verb can already have a sort of connotation of continuous action, that I am doing something. But you can emphasize that further by using the word am. So if you call me, for example, on the phone, but I'm like in the middle of eating, I'll be like I'm bokal, like I'm eating like right now, right? So it's just emphatic. So so ma titla. Oh, and see, notice here again the verb tala. It means like it's not turning out, like the pictures. In this case, that's why it's feminine, titla. The pictures are not turning out, or they're not coming out like I want them. Now, or it's just one surah. It's just one picture. It's not coming out like I want it. And then notice again what I mentioned in the beginning. Here we have zayma. So zayma is as, yeah. So zay means as, but then zayma is as da 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 da, and then it's not, and what follows is not going to be a noun. It's going to be more. It's going to be a verb. So, anta zay abuk, for example, you are like your father. But zay ma biddi, the reason the ma is here is because it's followed by a verb. Biddi is not grammatically technically a verb, but really it's used as a verb, and it for all practical purposes it is a verb. So that's why it's zay ma, as I want, biddi, zay ma biddi, as I want. So she's just saying, I'm trying to take selfies, but the picture's not coming out like I want it to. And then the mother comes into the room. تفضلوا يا صبايا. She's bringing in the sweets that she promised. تفضل just means like, go ahead, or welcome, or not welcome like ahlan wa sahlan, like welcome to my house, but rather just like, yeah, like go ahead, or here. Like if you want to give something to someone, oh my gosh, in the beginning I was just like, before I knew any better, like I was just saying khud, which means take this. But no, so if I want to give you like something, I would be like تفضل, just like help yourself a little bit in a way. So yeah, I translate it as help yourself. Sabaya, girls. Okay, shukran auntie. Auntie coming from auntie, right? Or like my aunt. غلبتي حالك. I mean, it's just being nice. Like, actually, I'm kind of happy with this translation for taking the trouble, because that's quite, that's very much what it means in Arabic. Like, غلب means to like bother. So literally means you have bothered yourself. You bothered yourself. So I translate it as for taking the trouble. It's a very nice thing to say. And then Sally, shukran mama. Okay. خلاص. Okay, then Sanad, he's playing video games now, and he's like with his headset, and he's talking to his friend. Okay, dir بالك Firas. Dir بالك means be careful. بالك, bal is mind, and then it's like saying, the same way that in English we say like mind the stairs or mind the gap or like something like that. Yeah, it's kind of like, well, yeah, sure. Anyway, it just means be careful. Dir بالك. The verb is dir. So in the past tense it would be dar. Huwa dar balu. But in the command form it's dir بالك. And then bal, because bal is the noun, the K is just for you. So it would be bali or balik or balu or balha. So yeah, those are the things that you would want to modify if you want to change this verb. Firas, okay. Okay. Hey fi واحد طالع من وراء الشجرة. Okay, so من وراء الشجرة means from in front of from behind the tree. Of course in the video game. Now, okay, this hay, I'm just going to say that it's basically working the same as the earlier. It's also emphasizing, like up here, it's also emphasizing like a current action. And this is, it's actually, though, it's conjugated, you add a suffix based on who the actor is, right? So the most common thing, like I don't even use this word very much, like he's using it by itself. I don't really do that much. I mostly, it's not even that common, but something that I do say sometimes is hayni. So that is conjugated for me with a ni at the end for ana. So hayni, hayni jay. Actually, that's common. That's actually pretty common. So hayni jay is like, jay is the active participle of ija. So huwa ija, he came. Jay is coming. And then hayni jay is like, I'm coming right now. Like, it's like really emphasizing, it's very much for the present moment. So the use of hay and hayni, of course, which is just the form for me, and then it's quite a limited use. I mean, it's really for emphasizing a sort of currently ongoing action, like right in front of you or like something like that. But in this case, the hay has no what do you call it, suffix, because then he says it, right? Hay fi واحد, there's fi is there is, واحد one, or it's like hada, right? It's like someone, طالع, coming out from behind the tree. I wouldn't get too hung up about this, although it is a little bit of a weird, I mean, again, it's just not something that you'll see like too often. But yeah, hey, hayni, hayyik, hayyu, hayha. Actually, hayyu and hayha, I mean, it could also be like here it is, like voilà, actually, like in French, like hey you, like, you know, here it is. So yeah, very much talking about like something that is present in the present moment. So like, yeah, that's the best way I can explain it. All right, سند. سند مين هذا فراس? Who is this فراس? مش حكينا إنه ما منضيف حدا ما بنعرفه. Okay, حدا, again, someone. حدا ما بنعرفه. Oh, I'll say something about that. But so from the beginning, مش حكينا. So حكينا is we spoke, and normally you would say ما حكينا. It means we didn't say. But the use of the word mish, which is normally for nouns, it makes it sound or translate more like haven't we said, like haven't we spoken, or so it's like حكينا is like a state where we have spoken about something, and it's like, haven't we done, or isn't it the case that we already talked about this, right? ما حكينا just like is like we didn't speak about that. I mean, I think it wouldn't be wrong to say ما حكينا, absolutely not. Like technically that's more, it seems more correct in a way, but this is just a common expression. You do hear it a lot. مش حكينا, like haven't we said, haven't we said. إنه, that, ما منضيف, that we don't add. Actually, مضيف is from the verb ضاف, which means technically to attach, but it's used especially for like social media, really, is when you use this. So like ضيفني, like is like add me on Instagram, for example. That's kind of where that's where I use this the most, frankly, like for that kind of thing. So because here they're talking about like the video game, right? Like we don't add anyone that we don't know. Yeah. Oh, and what I wanted to mention really quick is that so in Arabic, when you want to like add more information about a noun, so in English we use words like which or who or that. So like the guy that came to my house yesterday, or the guy who came to my house yesterday, or the restaurant that I like so much, or something like that. Here we use words like that, or which, you know, the place in which I ate yesterday. It's not very common to say it that way in English, I guess. Like it's more like in written English, maybe you would say that. But anyway, we use those words in English, but in speech they can be omitted sometimes. So in this case, you could say we don't add anyone that we don't know, or you can say anyone we don't know. But in Arabic, you either, and I will make a video about this because it's quite important, if you are talking about something specific, something definite, let's say, I don't know if I should do this now, but you either use the word illi, which means which, for definite things, specific things, or you don't use anything and you go right into the description, which is what happened here. So let's say المطعم اللي أكلت فيه means the restaurant that I ate in it. So illi here is used to say, is to connect the noun with the rest of the description. I'm going to make another video about this with more detail, but in this case, because we're talking about something indefinite, hada, someone, there's no illi and there's no nothing. You just go right into whatever is qualifying that noun. So in this case, it's hada ma nerafu. It might seem a little bit weird. It might seem like something is missing if you're coming from English, because it just looks like it says we don't add someone. Well, we don't add someone we don't know. Actually, that you can't say it that way in English because you can omit it sometimes. But yeah, I mean, it might seem weird, but basically you just never, in Arabic, you would never have anything to connect these things unless it's something definite, in which case, like the restaurant that I ate in it, that would be, you would use the word illi. But in this case, nothing is used. Okay, next. Mama, I want to see the time. Oh. Okay. Okay. Mama had ولد جديد بصفي. There's a new kid in my class. طيب يلا. خلص وقتك الجيمز. Okay. طيب يلا. All right. Let's go. The game time is over. Yeah. Okay. انهي, finish. معه, with him. وروح اقرأ لك كتاب. And go read yourself a book. Again, I think this is mostly self-explanatory. Okay, Mama, bus خمس دقايق. Notice here the word bus not meaning but rather only, right? So just 5 minutes. And then, okay, ماشي. All right. And then he's talking to, then he's talking to his friend. يلا فراس أنا لازم أروح. I have to go. خلص وقتي. Yeah, again, it's pretty straightforward. Yeah, my time is up. خلاص means it ended. So in this case, my time ended, meaning like my time is up for the games. Okay, and then Firas says خلاص وقتك, your time is up. أنت بترد على أهلك يا زلمة. Ya zalama is like saying dude, right? And then the only thing here is that bitrod, so rad means to answer, but it's also used in some ways to say like to answer to, so you answer to your parents. In this case, the meaning is to do what someone says or tells you to do. So yeah, it doesn't mean do you answer to your parents, it means do you do what your parents tell you to do, in the same way that in English you might say you answer to your parents. I guess like it reflects accountability. Okay, أنا بلعب قد ما بدي. Again, notice the قد ما, as much as I want, right? Because you have a verb after, or something that's like a verb. Okay, انسى, forget it. شوف هالحركة. Forget it, look at this move, I guess, it's in the game. Okay, now the girls are leaving. Okay, bye auntie. يلا bye. سالي ما تنسي تحط اسمي على المشروع. Okay, Sally, ما تنسي, don't forget, تحطي, to put, اسمي, my name, على المشروع, on the project. Is just like, okay, it's just like, yeah. Mama لبنى ما قبلت, she did not accept, or I translate it as she refused to, but it literally means, قبل means to accept, so ما قبلت, she did not accept, to work, تشتغل معنا ولا إشي. She did not accept to work on anything, on anything with us. ولا إشي is not anything, so nothing. But in Arabic you do have double negatives. So she did not accept to work on nothing. Technically, that's how it is in Arabic. Even though in English she did not accept to work on anything, or she refused to work on anything. In Arabic, this word is so wala ishi doesn't mean anything, even though that's what I wrote. It means nothing. Okay. ضلت, she remained, she stayed doing something. So in this case, I translate it as she kept, she continued to do, but it means to stay or to keep, to keep doing something. ضلت تصور حالها زي كأنها تشتغل معنا. So she stayed, she stayed taking pictures of herself. حالي, حالك, حالها means myself, yourself, herself. زي كأنها. Ooh, this is a very, very interesting thing. The letter kaf means like as, but not as in comparison, but rather like me as a student. I think. Do you see what I mean? So أنا كطالب بفكر إنه, so in this case, that's why it's as. So زي كأنها, as, how would I even translate this, like literally, as that she were working with. So the zay works to compare, and then the ka, so inha is that she does something, so ka, as, so she kept taking her pictures of herself like as that she were working with us. That's the most literal translation I can do for everything. But the ka, yeah, that means like as something else, but not like not in the sense of comparison, but rather me as a student or me as a mother or something like that. Yeah, in a particular way. Okay. لحظت عليها لما فتت عندكم. So لحظت is I noticed. عليها, I noticed toward her. I mean, that's just how you would say this in Arabic. Lamma is a relative word for time. So if you want to ask when, you would say امتى, right? So when did you go to the store? امتى رحت على الدكان. But if you want to say when I went to the store, I saw blah blah blah, you use the word lamma. So it's to indicate a time, like to set up a time and then describe what happened at that time. So I noticed her when I when I entered عندكم, here it is again, عند, when I entered at your place. So that's the word lamma. Very useful, and I will talk about that again in a future video. Okay, بس هي ماما كتير منيحة وعندها كتير أصحاب. Here عند means to have, so she's very good, or she's very nice, and she has lots of friends. وبتعرف أخبار الكل, and she knows everyone's news, but it just means like she knows things about everyone. الكل here, as it was in the last video, I mentioned that it can be used to mean like everyone. So kul means everything, and kul hada would mean every person, every single person, but al-kul is like everyone, like, yeah, it's kind of more general. Okay, بتصدقي إنها بتقولي إنه رنا قالت لها. Okay, do you believe بتصدقي إنها that, so do you believe that بتقولي that she tells me إنه that رنا قالت لها, that رنا قالت, told, إلها, her. Okay, so do you believe that Lubna tells me that Rana told Lubna إني, that إني أنا بغار, that, okay, إني أنا بغار, that I'm jealous منها, Rana, because صوتها, so Rana's voice, hello. Okay, so that was a lot going on. It is confusing, like even when she says it in the video. But yeah, it's just like a lot of people going on. But yeah, the main thing here is that this bit'ulli, you might wonder why is it not bit'ul, right? So qal means to say, bit'ul is you say, or in this case she said, or she says. But what happens is that when you have an indirect object, like you tell me, what happens is that with this verb, it's just about this verb, because I guess people say it so much, with this particular verb, that ul, just to make things quicker, it's really shortened to a damma, and then the l, the lam, is sort of doubled, or there's like a shadda said. Again, this is really just a pronunciation thing, so instead of bit'uli, it's bit'ulli. Because actually, because bit'uli would mean you feminine, you say. So enta bit'ul, enti bit'uli. So bit'ulli is you or she says to me. So I guess the doubled, the reason the lam is doubled is because there's the lam from the verb qal, but also the lam for the direct or indirect object. So there's two lam, and because they get fused together, because they're back to back, in order to really emphasize that with the shadda, say ulli, you can't, I mean, it just sounds a little bit more awkward with a long wow, so instead it just becomes a dhamma. Okay, that's it. وهي زعلانة من رنا, okay, and Lubna is annoyed at Rana. كيف هيك بتقول عني? So كيف, how, هيك, that way, بتقول, she says, عني, about me. So literally it's, she's annoyed from Rana, how like that she speaks of me. But again, of course it means how she could talk about me that way. هيك meaning that way in this case. Okay, this is the last few things. Ma'ul, like, really? Like, technically it would be like believable, but obviously, I mean, in English, it's like, could that be? Rana صديقتك الطفولة means صديقة is friend, feminine, so your friend. الطفولة is the childhood, so الطفولة, your childhood friend. Okay, ma'azon, I don't think. Azon means like, yeah, I mean, like, bazon or azon is like saying, I guess so, right? So, in this case, ma'azon, I don't guess, or I don't expect, or I don't think that Rana تحكي هيك إشي, such a thing. هيك, again, that way, or a certain way, so that kind of thing. I don't think Rana would say that kind of thing. Aslan, أنا هاي Lubna, this Lubna. Aslan in this case is like, I said actually, but it's kind of like, originally or like from the start or already, just something that you were already, like already thinking. So أصلا أنا هاي لبنى ما عجبتني أبدا. So عجبتني, okay, so technically, or the best translation for this actually in a way would be, I didn't like this Lubna to begin with. And I have this in my spreadsheet. I have ajab as to like, but that's actually not right, because ajab means to impress. I think that's the best translation for it, but it's used as a way of saying that you like something, except the doer of the action is not you liking that thing, but it's rather that thing making itself likable for you and impressing you in this case. So I wouldn't use this verb to say I like something. It's more like that thing was pleasing, right? So in this case, it's impressed is the meaning. So this Lubna did not impress me abadan, or to begin, or ever. Abadan is never or ever, like in a negative way. So, or you could also say bil marra. So to begin with, like I was not impressed by her, but it's just another way of saying I didn't like her. But I translate it in a little bit more literal way. But you can say that in English too. I mean, تصرف is behavior. تصرفات is like behaviors. I mean, تصرفات is behavior too. I mean, the collection of all her behaviors, her attitudes and stuff. تصرفاتها بالمرة. Oh yeah, I said بالمرة. أبدا بالمرة. They're interchangeable. At all. Like بالمرة is like at all, or never also. So تصرفاتها بالمرة ما عجبتني. So I wasn't impressed by her behavior at all, or I did not like her behavior at all. شكله خلاص, like it, you know, it's over. Or شكله, شكل means shape or form. شكله is a way of saying it seems. So شكله, it seems, or he seems. So شكله تعبان, he seems tired. Yeah. So this is a very, very useful word. شكله خلاص, it seems, خلاص, again, it means it ended, but it's like, it's over, as she says. Seems like it's over. بعد ما غيروا الصفوف, after, again, here's the بعد ما, after they changed the classes. تغير كل إشي. Okay, this تغير is different. So there's غير, which means to change something, and then تغير is something changed. So after they changed the classes, تغير, it, well, كل إشي, everything, changed. So تغير is the intransitive form of the verb غير. It's a little bit confusing because the T in تغير is not for enta or for hiya. It's already a part of the form 5 intransitive form of this verb. So actually, if I wanted to say she changed, like she became different. She changed. I would say, she changed. Well, I would no. Let's just put it in the present tense so you see what I mean. If I wanted to say she changes, I would say بتتغير. So there's actually two T's. So if I say بتتغير, it means she changes something. But if I say بتتغير with two T's, there's the T of the form 5 and then the T for hiya. That means she is changing. I mean, if I'm talking about, a girl who's growing up or something, she's changing. Okay. And then finally, Sanad, شو حكينا? Okay, she's just calling to Sanad and saying like, hey, what did we say? Because he's like still playing video games at this point. And then he just says, okay. All right, that's all. See, I thought it was going to be a little bit shorter, but it really wasn't. I tried my best. So that was the first half of the transcript only. So then I'm going to do the second half, and we'll go from there. But I don't want to make this video any longer, so I'm just going to end it here. See you next time. Bye-bye. Have a good day. مع السلامة.